Thank you so much for staying on the AM show. It's now time to have a conversation about how Ghana can economically benefit from adding value to our gold mined here. Also, artisanal small-scale gold mining, ASGM, has become a growing source of employment in Ghana. But formalization is still a big challenge, and it constitutes the root of a substantial number of problems and negative impacts associated with mining. You may recall government's drive to end illegal small-scale mining and the initiative to formalize it. Where are we now? And what benefits have we derived so far from that particular initiative? Well, I've been joined by Dr. Stephen Blessing Aka. He is Executive Director of ViewTag Ghana Gold Expo. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. He joins me in studio. And via Zoom, we have Yaudia, Executive Coordinator of Gold Statement. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. And I see what you're holding there, the Gold Expo Report 2022. Quite an interesting report, but it basically captures statements, presentations made by various people, government reps, industry players during the Gold Expo. Tell us basically, I mean, what was derived, or the key points that were raised during the Expo.
All right, thank you very much. And good morning to your viewers. So the Gold Expo started in 2019 with the support of His Excellency Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. We realized that we've been mining for the past years and we needed to add value to Ghana's gold. So with the able support of Honorable Kobno Chedaku-Mensah, who is currently the Western Regional Minister, and of course, you know, the Western region contributes 50+ of the total gold that we have in Ghana. So it was economically sense to host the Gold Expo in Western region in 2020 till now. The 2022 report looks at 3 key areas. We want to look at the formalization structure of the small-scale mining sector in the community mining program that the government have launched. We also want to look at the reserve optimization programs that the central bank across Africa have decided to engage. And the last part is the job creation through mining sector. And I would like to break it down a bit. We've been mining for years. There are 3 issues that we have to look at. The first one has to look at the national framework that we have in terms of the ministry, the agencies, the departments such as Ministry of Lands, which we know we have Minerals Commission, PMMC, the Geological Survey. These are national frameworks that support the regulatory body in terms of mining sector in Ghana. This is where that most of us have been focusing on. This goes beyond that in the sense that we are trying to look at how to formalize the small-scale mining sector, because at the end of the day, the small-scale contribute 40% of the total gold that we produce in Ghana. There are other factors that we have to look at in terms of formalizing the sector, because for at least the government since 2019 have done a lot in terms of protecting the destruction of land, also removal of mercury in the extraction of gold that we use, because we know mercury is a dangerous chemical that we use. Also the reclamation and the conservation program that we have. However, we need to look at the industry requirement. This is where we fall short as a continent, as a country. We have several industry requirements such as the London Exchange metal, which we mostly look at the base metal in terms of copper, zinc, and other ones. We have the Indian Stock Exchange market supply program for raw material certification, which means that the Indian, as a country, allows people to bring in raw materials. However, they are unable to export refined gold. So the reason why a lot of Indians are here is as a result of the policy that they have put in place to attract a lot of raw materials from developing countries like Africa. So it's an industry requirement that they have created. There are other ones such as the Responsible Minerals Initiative, who look at how to source gold responsibly. Then the last part, which is known by everybody, the London Market Bullion Association, which is the LBMA, that issues certification for refineries to refine gold. Ghana have tried several times with LBMA because LBMA is close to us in London and it doesn't work. So what we decided to do as an entity was to look at the drivers for responsible sourcing, which we realized that there are affiliate programs such as the responsible sourcing program that enables refineries, a country, and traders, and also the miners to source gold responsibly. And this gives you some form of brand so that you are not, in a way, taken out of the trade exit. And that is the drivers that we are looking at. So at the moment, LBMA affiliate programs, such as the Responsible Sourcing Program, have been issued to Ghana through RGC, which is the Responsible Jewelry Council. That shows that we can now decide to source gold responsibly without using mercury, child labor, money laundering, and all these things.
I'll come back to you for more on what we've been discussing. But let me mention that Abdul Razak, who is Communications Director of the Small Scale Miners Association, joins the conversation via Zoom. Let me start with you, sir, because small scale miners have been in the news for a very long time. I remember when the fight against illegal mining started, there was a lot of focus on small scale miners who didn't have the right licenses, who didn't follow the right practices in mining, and so government decided to regularize the sector. What will your assessment of that initiative be as we speak currently?
And good morning to your listeners. It is true, but since 2017, we've been having challenges in our sector as small-scale miners, though on the whole network, I think we've produced a lot of gold in this country, whereby whatever we do remains in the country. But when it comes to illegalities and legal ones, that is where the challenge is. Many people are there mining without following due process, and it affected our sector very well, whereby the government even brought a blanket ban on small-scale mining, whether lances or not lances. And after 2017, 2018, 2019, government started bringing initiatives to see how best we all see and formalize the sector. And through that, this community mining model was introduced. And I think MMIP, multi-sectorial, something came in. And there are so many things that government, initiatives that government have brought. Whilst we as an association, we've also made a lot of effort to see how best the system will be sanitized. Though fighting illegalities is a canker whereby you can take 1 day to solve. It's a process. But so those who are in the sector will testify that since the fight of Galamsey started, I think government have chalked some successes, but there's still more to be done. Whilst we are also doing our part, seeing how best we train our members, educate them, let them understand the need of going in for concessions, the mining and mining responsibly. So I think so far so good. We are still putting things in place, though it's difficult. It has not been easy, but gradually it will get to time we all get there.
So this government in particular is on a digitalization drive. And I'm looking at the Gold Expo Report 2022, the submission by the Deputy Lands Minister, George Mrekuduka. And he talks about how digitization of mineral rights acquisition process can also help in dealing with this issue. And it has to do with giving licenses, tracing them and all that. Has that started yet?
Yeah, thank you very much. It started last year, somewhere in November, and this MCAT system is been working very well. Those who have gone in for licenses will testify. Because of the digitization system, this time you can sit at your comfort zone with your email address, everything, and then do your search on the maps. Then you can even apply through that system. I think they are bringing everybody on these MCAD processes, and it's working, and it's working. When you at least you're a small-scale miner, and you follow the system very well, it has reduced so many things, this human facing and traveling up and down. Somewhere in the north, you have to travel down to Accra for everything. But through the digitization, I think now many of our members are okay, and we are still educating many to understand the system. You know, this is a system whereby many of us, we don't rely on only those who have PhDs and those things. Any person at all can go into our sector, and you get a place to work. So those who are having less knowledge about these digitization processes, I think the officers of Minerals Commission all over the country, when you get to their offices, they will educate you, show you the way. If you don't have the idea, they will find a way and show you how to process your documents. And it is the facilitation and everything. So far, so good. Though we still have more people to educate. We are going to the grassroots as an association. We've got technical people to show them, demonstrate some of these things to them, for them to see how best they will come out of this system. So digitization, yes, the government have tried. They are working very hard, and we have an energetic minister and his deputy, Honorable Mirikuduka, who is doing fantastic.
Right.
So there's a lot that is going on.
Mr. Razak, I'll have you hold on at this point. Let me bring in Mr. Dia, who is joining us via Zoom. Good morning to you once again, sir. So I'm looking once again at the Gold Expo Report 2022, and there is a statement in here by Mr. Salim Fendi, who is CEO of Orum Monaco, and he moderated the conversation on gold trading and export formalization. So this particular initiative by government to digitalize the entire system, how do you see it playing into the need to really formalize the sector and ensure that persons who are not doing the right thing are found and persons without licenses cannot operate? And also when it comes to trading, government can quickly monitor, because we also know what happens on that side where there are illegal exports causing loss to the state.
Well, yes, thank you very much for having me on the program. First of all, I'll say that our organization has been deeply concerned about the role of jewelers, and especially their access, the limited access to gold. And so we believe that with the digitization process, it will help to streamline things, categorize things, especially in terms of standardization and making sure that every aspect of the material that gets into the hands of responsible users can be traced and can be ascertained that they are being used for the right purpose, and can be validated through authorization to be sure that the right things are being done at all times. We are truly concerned about the jewelers, mainly because for a very long time they have not been able to access gold at competitive prices. And we believe that this digitization process will eventually streamline things, and all the jewelers concerned, those who are really into the craftsmanship of creating, Ghanaian jewelry, you can find a suitable place on the market, both locally and internationally.
Mr. Dia, just like many of the things that we extract in this country, there appears to be a big problem about adding value to those things that we extract. And so you find that a lot of the time we send out the raw material, it comes back to us, there's more value, we pay more for what we source locally, and it's a big problem. So how do we deal with that aspect of the problem as well, ensuring that we explore and utilize the major avenues that can help us not only get the benefits of mining, but also adding value to what we extract?
Well, that's probably what Gold Statement has been embarking upon for over a decade now. Notice that the only sector that adds value to gold is the jewelers. And so if you don't equip the jewelers, it means you're going to continue exporting gold. Now, jewelers need the gold to be able to create jewelry and create that unique, traditional, craftsmanship that the Gold Coast or Ghana is known for. We started this advocacy because we noticed that gradually the jewelry sector was eventually dying. We noticed at a point that over 10,000 jobs and livelihoods had been lost. And this is basically because it had been neglected. The jewelry sector had been neglected. And most of the goldsmiths and jewelers had, turned towards trading in jewelry rather than making the jewelries themselves. So we thought, listen, we cannot continue doing this. There's a unique craftsmanship that everybody knows, or those who really understand jewelry internationally expect to see about gold jewelry from Ghana. We need to bring all that back. And the most important thing, we need to start by trying to find out what we can do to help the jewelers access gold. We need to find out what we can do, again, the database and the digitization, getting an absolute, complete database of all the jewelers, finding out those who are aptly resourced, those who are not aptly resourced, how they can be assisted, and so on. So ours has been the continuous development and upgrading of the jewelry sector. And we believe that once the jewelry sector has been, revamped, the value addition will follow as a matter of course, because really the only way, or probably the most potent and most vital way of adding value is creating jewelry. And in Ghana, our traditions give us the opportunity to create jewelry right from birth all the way through one's lifetime, marriage, and even beyond. So there's so many things that we can do, even if we link it to our culture and our tradition, So we believe that once we focus and continue to drive and put in a lot to rejuvenate the jewelry sector, our value addition discourse or action or agenda, will be gaining some good traction.
Mr. Dia, so this may be a wild estimation, but say we are able to turn about 70% or 80% of the gold we extract into jewelry. Do you think that there is a ready market for it, or we then have to begin to explore the angle of now exporting most of these value-added products of gold?
There are concerns. There are concerns with standardization. Doc was talking about the mercury in our gold and so on. And so as part of our initiative, we're engaging all other stakeholders like Standards Authority, Minerals Commission, and so on, to see how we can ensure that the product that eventually gets to the jewelers can be ascertained that they are of the right quality or the right measure to be able to deliver the craftsmanship that we envisage. Truth is, there is no question about the genuineness or the authentic Ghanaian handmade jewelry. The only question that has been asked, internationally, is the mercury in the gold and how we can ascertain standards and so on. So ours is bringing all the stakeholders together to ensure that once the craftsmanship and the skill is available, and then the gold, access to gold is available, other stakeholders can assist in making sure that the standards and the necessary concerns are observed. And then obviously, we have started making some attempts towards collaborating with other international gold and jewelry expos, especially in South Africa, to see how we can create an international market for the jewelers. But we believe that even within Ghana, we can start with developing the domestic market and then we move it to the next level.
I'll come back to you, Mr. Dia, for your concluding thoughts on this conversation. But let me come back to you in studio. There are many uses of gold, but we know that a large percentage of gold extracted in the world is used for jewelry. Should Ghana be looking at exploring the other value additions of gold, say producing stuff that will be used in cosmetics, producing stuff that could be used in medicine and even dentistry? Or you think that we should just focus on one aspect and then excel there?
All right, thank you very much. That's a great question. I think the answer has to do with certification. In my earlier presentation, I mentioned that there are 3 stages that we have to look at. I think Mr. Duya and that of Razak was telling you the initiative that the government have put in, which is the national framework that you have to conform to them. Now, after the national legal framework, which is Minerals Commission, PMMC trying to see that the right thing is done under the Ministry or Ministry of Environment, there is industry requirement. Regarding the jewelry that we are talking about, the trade exit is global and liquid. It means it's unlimited. What matters is that if the gold that you source is not certified, there's no way the gold can be recognized that this gold is coming from Ghana, because there must be the originality of the gold. Once you don't have that, you only sell the gold without a value. So this is what we've been facing as a country for the past years, because the LBMA will not give you certification, the Responsible Jewelry Council will not give you certification, the Indian Stock Exchange focusing on gold will also not give you certification. Because I mentioned to you that they have certain countries, example like Dubai, the DMCC, which is the Dubai Multi-Commodity Center, allows gold from developing countries to come. And once the gold goes, what they do is that they say they have the refineries to extract the mercury, to extract the chemicals out of it, and now they are able to transform the gold into an originality. So this is what happens. So what is happening is that before we even want to go into medicine, want to go into this, we have to look at the certification first. Until we look at the certifications, there's no way the gold that we produce in Ghana will add value.
And if I get you clearly, the certification is linked to some of these unwanted products or elements like mercury and other chemicals in our gold. Is that the case?
Yes. So the certification mostly look at the supply chain program or the OECD supply chain and the due diligence program that is mostly used around metals. For example, we have the London Metal Exchange that look at the base metal. But what the discussion we're having has to do with the LBMA and the responsible sourcing. Ghana is fortunate now to have the responsible sourcing program accepted into Ghana. So it means that if the government continue to be proactive in the program that they are initiating in terms of not allowing mercury to be used, child labor, money laundering, all these things, it means that we have to now set up a sourcing program through the code of practice by either RGC or LBMA or any of those things. Then now the gold now has to now go to a refinery. Because the certification is mostly given, I mentioned to that they are drivers of the responsible sourcing. You cannot add value when you don't have your drivers. In Ghana, we have three of them that we have identified. The first one has to do with the refineries. The refineries should be able to have the certification, allow them to refine gold, so that once the gold is refined, they can now keep the gold here. The other drivers has to do with the traders which export the gold. A trader goes, for example, Razak no, a trader will go to any of the community mining, source gold, and we don't know the source. So what he does is that he's only sending the gold outside of Ghana to either India or Dubai. There's no value to it. But once you're able to put the trader in a program through the responsible sourcing program, he's able to tell you the traceability. That's why the digitalization comes in. So now you know that from the mining, the extraction side, the in-between, and also the trade exit. So you're able to know the traceability. Then the last part that we have also seen is the domestic purchase program by the central banks across Africa. The central bank is seen as the most credible and also well and also efficient in terms of management of funds. So developing nations, according to the G20, allows them to look at the new strategy for financial sector and the world economy, so that we don't even go to IMF and other inappropriate things that we want to do. So the central bank comes in to look at the domestic purchase program. So what they are also trying to do is that, for example, and I applaud Bank of Ghana for doing that. For 62 years, we didn't reserve gold. because Bank of Ghana cannot go and take a gold from a miner who extract gold with mercury. It's against the industrial requirement by LBMA or RGC. But now Bank of Ghana is also trying to see how they come in to be able to support the small scale through PMMC, through the refineries, so that we can source gold responsibly and now refine the gold and even keep the gold here. Then the jewelers now comes in to see how, because the trade exit is unlimited. So even people, for example, all the designers like Michael Kors, Louis Vuitton, they consume 20% of the gold that we produce globally. So it means there's a lot of demand. The challenge is that you don't have the certification, you don't have the response sourcing, so you only produce the gold and take the gold to Dubai or any part of other countries that they want the raw materials.
Let me take the concluding remarks or response from Mr. Dria, who is Executive Coordinator for Gold Statement. So, Mr. Dria, I mean, we step out onto the streets, we talk to Ghanaians, there's a lot of frustration in the system. You hear people say things like, and we've been extracting gold in this country for so long, but we never have anything to show for it. So, the discussion we've been having this morning, let's now focus on the benefits that this nation is likely to derive on we maximizing and placing value on the gold we extract here. How would it translate into the general economy and well-being of it?
Well, yes, I started by telling you that we noticed that over 10,000 jobs or livelihoods were being lost. And so once we revamp the sector, we're sure that we should be able to create more livelihoods. Another thing we realized was that there's this old traditional jewelry making that is known to a lot of elderly goldsmiths. Some of them have passed it on to the younger generation. Some have not been able to. And those who have even passed it on to younger generations, they are not even interested in pursuing it because they don't see how viable it is. So generally, we are rejuvenating a sector by creating more jobs. And don't forget that once you create the jewelry, there are other jobs that come or livelihoods that come along the line. There's a marketing aspect, there's a trading aspect, and so on. So we believe that once we're able to revamp this sector, we're creating a lot more livelihoods, a lot more returns for the economy, and a lot more people will have various means of getting into it. Truth is, once, apart from the old or the existing jewelers who who are still in it and are being encouraged to get back, there are a lot more people who are also interested and would be interested in training. So there are some training institutions that have actually started training more craftsmen in jewelry making. And so we believe that if you look at there's an institution called Asanska Jewelry that is training a lot more people in various aspects of the jewelry industry, the craftsmanship, the unique ways of marketing and presenting jewelry, and so on. So these are all kinds of various lively.
Hello, Mr. Dria?
Trade, job and hello, yes.
Sorry, we lost you. Please conclude.
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Dria, I can hear you now.
Oh.
Hello?
Oh, okay. I was saying that, hello, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Please go ahead.
Okay. So I was saying that, I don't know at what point you lost me, but I was saying that once we get all the sectors working, there's the jewelers who are already working, who need to be resourced. And then you have those who are some kind of discouraged and need to be encouraged to get back into the sector. And then you have those who would see how viable it is and would need to get into it and need to be trained. And there are training institutions, I mentioned institutions like Asanska Jewelry, who are actually doing a great job in training jewelers in craftsmanship and also taking over the entire aspects of the jewelry industry, the presentation, the marketing, the trading, and so on. So we can see, we're foreseeing a whole sector being rejuvenized and modernized and digitized and creating all kinds of, livelihoods for the youth, for the elderly, and so on.
Right. Thank you so much for joining the conversation, Mr. Diaz. This one, we'll leave it with you. But let me also go to Mr. Razak for his concluding response to this particular question. Let me put you on the spot. You are with the small-scale miners. Which do you prefer, to export the raw gold or to sell it to local jewelers who add value on it? Which one do you prefer?
I think nobody will think of exporting raw material without bringing out the best out of what you have. This value chain addition, or this value chain we are talking about, any addition that will add into this value addition we are talking about, any addition, when we don't look at the extractive sector very well, because if you look at the whole chain, all these certifications, all these beautifications and what we are talking about, when we don't manage the extractive sector where we are very well, when you don't produce this gold, how do you add any value to it? So that is a sector whereby we need to look at very well, because these large scales that who are in this country, none of them are refining their goods here. They extract this gold, send it out, and we don't know where it's going. We don't even know the percentage.
Is it a case that we don't have enough refineries, or because we don't have certain certification that will allow them to sell the gold in other parts of the world, they prefer to refine it elsewhere?
We don't have refineries in this country. I think we just have some few ones, but even supplying them with raw materials, where are the raw materials? Because those who are supposed to supply them are we, the small-scale mining, this small-scale mining sector. And we are not encouraging it. We are not trying to put things in place to make sure that we work and then produce these raw materials to these refineries. So, to me, as we speak, we all want our local industries to work. We want our jewelry, Look, anytime there's a problem in this sector, as small-scale mining, everybody goes to sector, thinking that it is we, the extracted, those who extract this gold, have our own problem. Meanwhile, it's a challenge across. If all of us, all the stakeholders come together to think of how best we can work together around the clock, extract this gold as Ghanaians, refine them, add value addition to it before we can do whatever we want to do it. I think all these things will not be happening. So until we all agree that, yes, small-scale mining sector is a sector we all have to embrace and fish out the badness out of it, and then we see how best we can progress in the sector. All this value addition, jewelries and what, all of them are redundant because the galamsey system or the small-scale mining sector has not been treated very well. So before we can add this value addition, we can get certifications, and then this, what is the name, child labor turn out of the system, unless all the stakeholders realize that it is the small-scale mining sector which will save this country, and we must all embrace it and see how best we can bring ideas and then extract this gold very well and take out these illegal activities rather than lambasting us, always creating problems.
Mr. Razak, quickly, let me find out from you these issues you highlighted, using mercury, child labor, and all that. Yes, government can set up regulations, can put up a framework, but it is up to you, the small-scale miners, to make a decision to adhere to what government is saying, or else the Bashan and the tax force will come after you. So what are you doing as small-scale miners to also ensure that your members are abiding by the regulations?
My sister, we are doing our best as an association. I think we are educating our people. We are telling them so many, because right now, I think we've joined this Minamata Convention as a program whereby by 2025, this mercury usage and what all will be the thing of the past, whereby we are engaging with, we've engaged with UMAT, where they are training us on how to use this retort system. whilst we also spoke with government, and this gold catcher 10 came in, whereby we will not be using mercury. So the mercury aspect and those things, I think where government and we, the industry players, are working hand to hand to make sure that we oblige to this convention of this millimeter 10.
All
when
right.
it comes to child labor, the association have a very good relation with ILO, whereby we've gone down to the roots and make sure that all the communities whereby the children under 18 years are engaged in this small scale or illegal mining thing. We are eradicating many of them, and we are doing so many things to help them come out of this system.
Right,
So we're making
Mr. Azak, I'd like you to answer the next question for me as quickly as you can, so we wrap up the conversation. What is your association's punitive measures for its members who do not abide by the regulations? Briefly, sir.
Yes, you see, this is a sector whereby we are having a whole lot of challenge. So the association have now adopted a strategy whereby we make sure that all members all small-scale miners who are into our sector will make sure that they will abide and follow the rules and regulations.
What if they don't? What do you do to them if they don't?
We've engaged them, and we are, as an association, we are facilitating their activities, whereby getting their licenses and their lands, making sure that we form monitoring teams to make sure that they will be doing things and doing it rightly. Those who are having financial handicaps, we are working out and looking for sponsors to make sure that they will help them, to groom them, and make sure that...
Let me make my question a bit clearer if it's not. If you find that a member of yours is using a young chap under 18 years, when you find that out, what do you do?
Yes, I think we have our task force intact, and we have our, what is the name, monitoring team, whereby when they visit this site and you see there's any child under age working, they will make sure that you, the owner, who is handling this, putting these people there, you will be held responsible. You have punishment that we give them. One, we will let you halt your business for now.
Okay.
Take all those people out. When you do not adhere, that is where the tax force can come and close your business.
Okay.
And they will report you to Minerals Commission to make sure that they will even revoke your license. So we are working on all these things.
I'm grateful for your time here this morning. Abdul Razak is Communications Director of the Small Scale Miners. I'm told that Mr. Tria has a quick word. I let him go earlier, but let's hear you, sir, as we wrap up the conversation.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that the conversation or the discourse continues annually on an event we call Gold Statement, where we bring together all the stakeholders, the jewelers, the goldsmiths, the policymakers, Minerals Commission, GSA, and so on. And what simply we do is try to bring out all the issues and try to make some progress in terms of the value addition. This year, we're continuing, and the discourse is still under the theme, harnessing the gains made in the value addition to gold and the gold and jewelry sector. Our joint responsibility. Our joint responsibility in terms of all of us as stakeholders coming together to see how we can move the agenda forward beyond a discourse, but towards an action. We're launching it at Alisa Hotel on the 16th of August, and the main event will be at Marriott Hotel between the 24th and 27th of November. We think that all the stakeholders should continue to support this event so we can continue to see the progress that we all envisage for the sector. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, sir. That's Yaudia, Executive Coordinator of Gold Statement. And in the studio, I've been speaking to Stephen Blesson Aka, Executive Director of UTAC Ghana Gold Expo. Briefly, if you can, in 30 seconds, tell me what you hope this report will do for the extractive industry.
Thank you. Yes, so the report, as I mentioned, started in 2019, and we've seen a lot of success through the Gold Expo reports. For example, the Gold Expo report in 2020 launched the first zero mercury machine, and today we've seen that the government have adopted the initiative and they've also purchased more than 100 of these machines. In the same time, in 2020, we looked at the domestic purchase program by Central Bank of Ghana, and today Bank of Ghana is buying gold to reserve for the country. We've also seen the biggest break for Ghana, whereby an affiliate of LBMA have issued the certification for Ghana for us to source gold responsibly, refine the gold so that we can add value to Ghana's gold. So this is the great thing that the Ghana Gold Expo report is doing. We are very much happy to work with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs because the report is mostly sent through all the commercial office for outside of Ghana, and we've seen a lot of impact of the Gold Expo report.
Thank you very much once again. Stephen Blessing Aka is Executive Director of UTAG Ghana Gold Expo. And that has been our conversation this morning on maximizing the gold that we extract in this country. Well, Joy News, in partnership with EcoBank, is bringing you the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair, and we've brought you our first clinic, which was at the Achimota Retail Center. The next one will be happening next week at the West Hills Mall, and we'll be bringing you more on that. We'll take a quick breather here. When we come back, we will be having a discussion with the Ghana Medical Association. You don't want to miss that. Do stay.